Your back was a little sore. You still there? Not yet. She hasn't hit it. Celebrate Amanda. Power clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. Good job, Amanda. Someone else. Sean knows what I'm talking about at least. He's kind of old. Getting your license is a great milestone, but the tickets and the wrecks that seem to happen all of a sudden or just start happening aren't so great. Yay! When you get to go to college, right? But then you get that bill every semester and you're like, is this really, something you should be celebrating? I think the older you get, the reason why the milestones seem so much less exciting, or not that because they're obviously bad. I think they just seem kind of worse because of the reminder they give you, and it's this. It's why I mentioned already. The reminder that you aren't as young as you used to. The reminder that you are getting older. And I say all this to share with you guys, I have had my first milestone that made me realize that I might not be as young as I used to. And Grace is laughing because she probably already knows what I'm saying, or maybe she realizes, Riley, you've been old for a little bit. No one just told you, I don't know, Grace. But all these years, being a youth pastor, I've tried my hardest to stay in touch with what's cool, to stay in touch with what's popular, what style's cool, what thing is cool, whatever Sydney's smelling that must be really cool. I don't know. I've tried to keep in touch with trends and what's popular, and the influencers that's popular, and all this stuff. I've tried to keep in touch with it. Hey, Wendy, I think we're having a party in the girls' bathroom. Will you go fix it? Thank you. But anyway, so much distractions tonight. In words y'all use, I try to keep up with slang, I hear all this slang. And finally, a few months ago, back right after Christmas, I heard some slang, and I thought, what does that mean? And it was the first time I couldn't even guess what it meant. It was the first time I really felt old. And I told Dawn, I said, do you know what this means? And she couldn't tell me, and I was like, we must be both getting old. And I tried to guess what it meant, and I was way off. And as you can guess, what slang term was based on our new sermon series graphic, which I did not put in the computer. That's my fault. But our series this month is Riz. Okay, Riz. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Riz. I heard it, and I was like, what is this? What does this mean? So once I started hearing it in the context, I figured it out. I said, oh, you're talking about game. Right, exactly. That's what we used to say. Cammie knows, say, man, he's got game. She's got game, and that's what you're talking about. You're talking about game, okay? When I looked it up, I learned something. You might know this. Imagine this. You might be using a word you don't even really know what it means. That never happens. You might be using a word that you don't even know it's where it comes from. So Riz, you might think it came from Kai on Twitch or whatever, but Riz is short for charisma. Okay? Riz is short for charisma. Okay? That's what Riz is short for. He's got charisma. She's got charisma. All right? It's not Rizzler, all right? It should be charismaler or whatever, okay? But that's what it's short for. It's charisma. And charisma is this. Charisma is defined as compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. That's what charisma is. And it got us to thinking. As people who love Jesus, we're not perfect, no. Do we make mistakes? Yes. But how should the fact that we love Jesus affect our charisma when it comes to our relationships? Far right side, center row. Far right, center row. Hey, Scooter and guys, stay off your phones, please. I got people telling on you guys. Anyway, charisma. And it's got us to thinking, how should our charisma, how should our attractiveness and our charm to relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships, all these relationships, how should that charisma change in us if we are believers? If you say you love Jesus, how should your Riz be different from someone else's Riz that doesn't love Jesus? How should it affect us? What should a followers of Jesus attractiveness and charm when it comes to the relationships we have, or the ones that we're pursuing, or the ones we're thinking about pursuing? How should it affect us? How should it change us? And not only what does that look like for our lives, but secondly, are you even interested? Are you even interested in having a Christ-like charisma? A Christ-like attractiveness? a Christ-like charm? Are you even interested in that? You could even say, as cringe as it might sound, are you interested in having some Jesus riz? That's pretty cringe, I know. A charm and attractiveness that makes you attractive, not because of what you wear or what you have to say to be attractive or how you should feel like you have to act to impress them. But a charisma that makes people attracted to you, not because of what you do and say, but because of who you say you are in Jesus and who you say you are in relationship with God. And because of what that stands out to others is showing his love to others, that should be the charisma you're worried about. Remember, charisma is defined as compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. In short, you could define godly charisma as love. Love, that's the real riz, that's the real godly charisma that you should have in your life if you're interested in it. You might be like, well, great, Riley, because, we're on the same page. My riz is all about love, Well, then you might need to go check your definition of love, because I got a good one for you tonight. It's found in 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 7. It says this: if I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but I do not have love, I'm only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. What does that mean in today's language? That means, those people who act really spiritual, but they don't show love to others. They're just annoying. That's what Paul's saying. You hear it. Amen. Remember, Alex, that's your word limit. It says, if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all the mysteries in all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. I know a lot of nothings. A lot of people who think they love Jesus but don't act like it. Verse 3 says, if I give all my possessions to the poor and give my body to hardship, that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud, and it does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs, and love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, and always hopes, and always perseveres. We often have a misconception of love, students. Some view love as a feeling, characterized as, butterflies in your stomach when you talk to him or get a snap from her, or he's holding my hand, That's what you think love is. Some may feel unloved because of the way that they've been mistreated by others. But in 1 Corinthians 13, we see a biblical definition of love, and it's God's love, and it's the love that we should have for others. It's the riz, the charisma that should be make others attracted to us. It's the charm that should make others want to be around you. What we plan on doing this month is taking this verse and using this as our definition of what riz is and what charisma is, and overlaying that over stories in the Bible. That's what we're doing all month. Because love is patient, it is kind, it does not envy. What does that mean? It means love is not jealous. These are all the things that love is. And honestly, there's probably parts that stick out in this definition, that stick out to all of us, something we need to work on specifically. And so we hope to hit them all in the next 4 weeks, but tonight we're just going to talk about 2, and it's going to be quickly. We're running a little bit late tonight, but we'll get there. The story tonight we're going to talk about is Abraham and Sarah. See, Abraham and Sarah, I like to think of them like as the Bible's first power couple. You got Adam and Eve, but, God was like, they screwed up really quick. I'm not going to trust them anymore. And you got some between them. But really, Abraham and Sarah is the first couple God makes a covenant with. God says, listen, I'm going to make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. In fact, my son, Jesus, is going to come from your descendants. But you got to trust me. And you got to live life holy. And he gives them, how they should live that holy life. But years and years go by, and Abraham and Sarah never have a kid. And stuff just starts not to add up. They start to not trust in God, because if God's supposed to give them descendants as many as stars in the sky, but they haven't even had a baby yet. What's going on? So then we pick up there in Genesis 16:1. It says this, and it says Sarai and Abram. At the end of this chapter, it changes their names, so it's Abraham and Sarah. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne to him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go, sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her." Doesn't sound very patient to me. Abraham agreed to what Sarai said. So after Abraham had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarai, his wife, took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar. She conceived, and when she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Verse 5, it says, "Now Sarai said to Abraham, 'You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me. Your slave is in your hands,' Abram said. 'Do with her whatever you want.'" Sarah had a choice. And this is the choice she made. It says, "Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her." Students, when you unplug a relationship from its source, it's not going to be healthy. They unplugged their relationship from God because they felt like they couldn't trust God, because they felt like God was not fulfilling his promise to them. And as soon as they decide to do that, they distance themselves from God's love. And as soon as you see that, it starts causing problems in their own relationship, in the relationships with others around them, because they're not being what love is to each other or to others around them, like Hagar. They're not being patient. They're not being kind. Students, patience and kindness are essential in resolving conflicts. There are many of you in here tonight that need to know that. In Genesis 16, we say Abraham and Sarah lacked patience and kindness towards each other, which led to conflict and disharmony in their relationship. And when conflicts arise, it's crucial to have peace and kindness to resolve them in a healthy and respectful manner. Patience and kindness leads to growth and maturity in relationships. Abraham and Sarah's story teaches us that patience and kindness are essential for relationships to grow and mature. If you are sick of always having shallow friendships, if you're sick of having shallow relationships, if you want your relationships to mature, then you start treating everyone in those relationships with love, with patience, with kindness. That's how you get relationships to the next level and how you get them to mature. Patience and kindness also, we see in the story, can help us overcome challenges and hardships. Abraham and Sarah faced many challenges and many hardships. And it didn't get better after this for a long time, until they had an experience with God and they recommitted to following him. And when they did that, then they could truly love each other, because they were plugged back into the source, and have patience and kindness again. By having patience and kindness in your own relationships, you can build resilience and strength and face challenges and have relationships that will last a lifetime, instead of the ones that last 2 weeks, a month, until you're mad at them, and friend hopping between everyone and all this stuff. Patience and kindness. I don't think it's going far to say that pretty much every problem that me and Dawn have had to deal with since we became youth pastors would not have been a problem if the students who said they were Christians would have had some patience and would have had some kindness. That's the two we're going over this week: patience and kindness. This is what I want you to do. I just want you to stand up where you're at. Just reflect on yourself for a second. Just think about your own life. You probably need to close your eyes just so you're not distracted by those around you. patience and kindness. See, this is the thing, is it's what love is. That's what we're talking about tonight. What is love? Love is charisma, patience, and kindness. Love starts, students, with self-reflection. You have to take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, am I loving the way God has loved me? I mean, is there anyone who has been more patient with you, who has waited for you to come to Him, who's let you fall away and come back and fall away and come back and fall away and come back? Is there anyone who has been more kind to you to give you forgiveness for whatever you ask of it? Think about it. Are you patient? Are you kind? This is the key. When you take time to reflect on your own behavior, that's where you start to see the need, where you can improve and start loving others in the way God wants you to love others. Patience and kindness. You have to practice patience and kindness. Love is built on a foundation of patience and kindness. If you do not get, I am be hard pressed to see a successful marriage if you do not get patience and kindness down. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a key quality to every relationship you have in your life, and the only way to truly have it is to get it from God so that you can give it to others. It's not just about receiving love, it's about giving it too, about giving patience, about giving kindness. And when you do that, you'll start to see your relationships grow stronger and healthier every day. And lastly, love is a choice. Love is a choice. It's not a feeling. It's a choice. Love doesn't just happen. It's a decision that you have to make every single day. It's easy to love those who love you back. But true love is choosing to love those who might not love you in return. Or they might not like you to begin with. When you make a deliberate effort to show love to those around you, you will see what true patience, what true kindness, what true charisma is. So this is what I want us to do tonight. I'm just going to open up the altars. You might want to come down and respond and ask God, how can you be more patient and kind in your life? I would encourage you to do that. You might need to ask God tonight who you need to be more patient and kind to. There's some of you guys in here tonight that need to go find the person that that God's put in your heads right now and resolve whatever conflict's going on between you guys to show that patience and that kindness. So right now, if you want to spend time with God, will you just move forward, find a place